ìkànnì ọ̀dọ́ FM 103.5.
Nìbàdàn.
àmọ́ rírì orí rẹ̀ ṣe tẹ̀ ń gbọ́.
láti ìkànnì ọ̀nà 103.5 FM. aago méjìlá lù.
This is on 103.5 FM. The time is 12 o'clock.
This is the news on Honor 103.5 FM. Honor FM News, accurate, transparent, undiluted. We go deep. We bring you the news behind the news. Honor FM News. If it's new, then it's news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the World News at noon on Honor 103.5 FM. I am Temitope Dada. In the news this afternoon, Nigeria records 67 confirmed monkeypox cases across 23 states. On the foreign news, UN condemns Israeli airstrike on Gaza school. On the business news, Accountant General of Federation releases gross summary revenue allocation June 2024. And on the entertainment news, Nigeria mourns Mohbad a year after his death. Finally, on sport news, Ghana's Black Stars to host African qualifiers in Nigeria. Now the news in detail. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed 67 cases of monkeypox from 1,031 suspected cases in 23 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Director General Dr. Jide Idris disclosed this at a media briefing in Abuja, noting that the agency is working with port health authorities to prevent the importation of Clade 1 of Mpox into the country. The affected states include Akwa Ibom, Enugu, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Benue, among others. The majority of cases were reported in Akwa Ibom and Enugu, with 8 confirmed cases each. The NCDC is urging citizens to remain vigilant and take necessary precautions to prevent the spread of the disease, as they will be working closely with state health authorities to ensure prompt response to suspected cases. Citizens are advised to report any suspicious cases to the nearest health facility. Still on the national news, Nigeria's petroleum marketers, refiners, and depot owners are urging the government to fully deregulate the downstream oil sector. They want an end to government price controls and subsidies, which they say are suppressing the industry's growth. The call was made during a webinar on Wednesday, where stakeholders discussed challenges and opportunities in the oil and gas sector. The Major Energies Marketers Association of Nigeria, depot and petroleum products marketers, and other industry players are advocating for deregulation to boost efficiency and sustainability. They believe that government interference is limiting investment and hindering the sector's potential. By removing price controls, they argue that the markets can determine prices, encouraging competition and growth. Moving to the African news, the World Health Organization cases of the Mpox virus have killed 2 people in Cameroon since April, with 6 further and 40 other suspected cases. The Health Ministry declared an international emergency over Mpox 4 weeks ago after a surge in cases of the Clade 1b strain in Congo, which spread to neighboring countries. Since then, Cameroonian authorities have strengthened surveillance, vaccination, and awareness measures to prevent a possible local outbreak. At the end of last month, Mpox was recorded at present in 14 African countries. And moving on to the foreign news coming from Israel, the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, has reported that 6 of its employees were killed in an Israeli airstrike on one of its schools in central Gaza. The school in Nura City refugee camp was being used as a shelter by thousands of displaced Palestinians when it was hit. Gaza civil defense spokesperson says 18 people were killed in the strike. Israel's military claims it carried out a precise strike on terrorists who were planning attacks on the school and that it took measures to avoid harm to civilians. However, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres strongly condemned the attack, saying it amounts to dramatic violations of international humanitarian law. Still on the foreign news, Peru's former president Alberto Fujimori, who ruled his country with an iron fist and then spent 16 years in prison for crimes against humanity, died on Wednesday at age 86 in the capital, Lima. Fujimori, who led Peru from 1990 to 2000, was released from prison on humanitarian grounds in December, two-thirds of the way through a 25-year sentence for crimes against humanity during his rule. He was a part of Peru's so-called war on terrorism, with government forces fighting against Shining Path and Tupac Amaru leftist rebels, which left more than 69,000 people dead and 21,000 missing from 1980 to 2000, most of them civilians. If you were just joining us, you are listening to the World News on Honor 103.5 FM. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media pages at Honor 103.5 FM. Now to the business news. Nigeria's Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has released a summary of gross revenue allocation by the Federation Account Allocation Committee for June 2024, shared in July 2024. This was disclosed in an official publication containing all the details of how the funds were allocated in the period under review. The analysis of the details showed that the beneficiaries included federal, state, local government councils and others received 1 trillion naira as statutory allocations out of the 2.68 trillion revenue generated in the period under review. And coming from the entertainment scene, it's been a year since the shocking news of Mohbad's death sent shockwaves across Nigeria. On the evening of September 12 last year, the music industry was plunged into mourning as tributes poured in for the talented singer. The controversy surrounding his death has left a lasting impact on Nigeria's showbiz scene. As we remember Mohbad today, we reflect on the immense talent and potential that was lost far too soon. Mohbad's legacy lives on through his music, which continues to inspire and influence a new generation of artists. And finally, on the sport news, Ghana's Black Stars are likely to host their remaining 2025 African Cup of Nations home qualifiers in Nigeria. This follows the Confederation of African Football's rejection of their home venue, the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi, due to major structural concerns. CAF's inspection team flagged issues with poor drainage, uneven playing surfaces, and inadequate grass cover. With the Baba Yara Stadium deemed unsuitable, Ghana is left without an approved venue for their upcoming qualifiers. Other stadiums in the country, including the Cape Coast and Accra Sports Stadiums, have also failed to meet the CAF standards. This has led to the unlikely scenario of Ghana hosting their home games in neighboring Nigeria. That was the world news on Honor 103.5 FM. Before we go, here is a recap of the major stories. On the national news today, we informed you that Nigeria has recorded 67 confirmed monkeypox cases across 23 states. And on the foreign news, the United Nations has condemned the Israeli airstrike on Gaza school, which killed 6 UN employees. And in business, the Accountant General of the Federation has released a summary of gross revenue allocation for June 2024. And on the entertainment news, Nigeria mourns Mohbad a year after his death. Finally, on sport news, Ghana's Black Stars to host AFCON qualifiers in Nigeria. For eyewitness reports and mentions on news commercials, contact the Honor FM newsroom at 0817-675-5555 or 0913-600-1035. You can also visit our website at www.honorfm1035.net for more information. The news is compiled by Okpeyemi Lasisi and Adewumi Akinyola. I am Temitope Dada. Thanks for listening.
And that was the news on